Hey guys, this is Cody Jones with Angus Genetics LLC. I'm out here in the bull pasture today because I want to talk about back in the day before we had all the technology, how people selected bulls. And I'd kind of come to realize this, but when I was reading Johann Zeitzman's Man Cattle Veld, it really stuck. And I really picked it up and I said, you know, that makes sense. And what he said is basically the gist of it is we've perverted everything with technology. We can look at EPDs, we can artificially inseminate, we can use embryo transplant, we can do all these things now that they never had the technology to do back in the day. And so what our ancestors had to do before all of this is they had to go out into a group of bulls just like this, and to preface this, you know, most people, you could trade back and forth between bulls with your neighbors, but most people's cattle were pretty similar. So we're going to go ahead and assume that these are all out of, you know, similarly framed cows, that you're doing a good job with your culling, you're not keeping anything that's open, old, or ornery. And so we're giving all these cattle kind of a fair advantage, because those are things that we should be doing if we want to have long-term cattle success with low input type cows and all those kinds of things. And so what they would do, our ancestors, is they'd come out here and do a group of bulls, and this is what you got. You basically went out and you picked the biggest, best looking bull. And if they were all born within 60 days or something pretty close to that, you know, when you're picking the biggest bull, you're picking a mama that's got good milk. You're picking a calf that has the ability to go out and find its own food and really do well on your environment. It's an animal that's not suffering from disease or any kind of other health issues because it wouldn't be very big. It was born early in the calving season, which you want for fertility, especially going back breeding cows and heifers to keep replacements. And so all these things you could basically do, and what Johann Zeitzman said he does now or what his process was identifying the best bulls. If you want to take the next step other than just looking at them, he said you need to get the University of Missouri frame score chart, and you need to get a tape measure. And he says what we do is we frame score them, and then we find the most early maturing bull. What Johann Zeitzman says to do, and I think is absolutely genius for simplifying everything, still adding enough technology, and just being able to select the most early maturing bull possible, is you get your frame score stick or your frame score tape measure, you get a hip height, then you go through your University of Missouri, which you can look up online, University of Missouri frame score chart. So you get the height, you get the weight. Johann's got some calculations in the book to show you how to do this more easily. But you basically look at the height, you look at the weight, and you say this bull's going to be, so a frame score for this bull's going to expect to be this many pounds of mature weight. What percent of his mature weight is he on this day? And then you could do the same thing across the board. But back in the day, before they had frame score charts, hip heights, and scales, most of those cattle were going to be similar frame scores. And you basically, by picking the biggest bull, or you're going to pick one that was bred early in the season. His mom had enough milk. If you're doing a good job culling, she doesn't have too much milk because she'd come up open at some point. And then he's just going to have basically been the one that's most likely to be well adapted to your environment. The heaviest bull, he's going to really thrive in your environment. He's out of a cow that's the most adapted. And by picking that heaviest bull, you should improve your weaning weights a little bit. You should improve your genetic adaptation to where you're at. And everything should be in line if you use the biggest, best looking bull, you know. And again, you have to preface that with all the things that we've talked about, and you still want the bull to pass all your visual tests. But basically that just takes away this system takes away all of the extra confusion with EPDs, which EPD is actually going to make me more money. And I don't think that EPDs are necessarily junk. I think that they get more accurate as time goes on. I think the genetic testing is an interesting tool. I just don't know how much faith to put into them. And this system here simplifies everything. So you find out how many months old that bull is. This bull's, he's probably 16 months. And so we could look at him, we could say he's 16 months, he's going to be a frame score 4. This is kind of just a rough estimate here. And he'll probably end up being 16 to 1,800 pounds when he gets done growing. And so we can look at another bull over there and say he's probably going to be a frame score 5, and he's just not gonna, he's probably ought to mature out at about that 1,800 pound mark, and he's not nearly as mature per day of age as this bull. So if I'm just picking visually, and this is just rough estimates, you would have to get your measuring tape out and your scale out to identify these bulls correctly. But from my experience and my trained eye of doing this over the years, I can tell you this bull is going to be a much better bull. He's going to be an earlier maturing bull. He's going to create earlier maturing heifers that are going to get bred faster, that's going to be more efficient. They're going to keep body fat on. And the other thing we want to look at is he visually appealing? This is a beautiful little bull. He's heavy in the front end already. You want a bull that's wedge shape, larger in the front to the back. A cow should be reverse. She should be larger from the back to the front, because the cow's business end is pushing a calf out the back, and the bull's business end is fighting with the front for dominance. And so we want that sexual dimorphism, is what's that called. A cow should not look like a bull, but a feminine cow will make a masculine bull will make a feminine cow. So these are all things that I'm looking at. He looks like a bull. He's got plenty of testicle size. If you wanted to be real comfortable, you turn him out on 25. I don't think he'd give you any issues there. If you wanted to go use him on heifers, same thing. I had 25, 30 heifers, you ought to get that done. These type of cattle that we're looking for, they're prolific. They're ready to breed early. If you watch them out in the pasture, they're going out 3-4 months, they're starting to ride cows. You know, they're showing signs of wanting to be sexually active at an early age, and that's going to reflect in those heifers too. Those heifers ought to get bred 14-15 months. A bull ought to be able to cover a bunch of cows at 14-15 months. And these things, they all play into longevity on the cow side. Now a good bull, I've looked up bison, and a good bull really shouldn't, in a bison herd, he's not going to have a long-term effect. He should replace himself pretty quickly. A high aggressive, high testosterone bull, 4 years and they were out of the bison herd. And so I kind of want to mimic that. Basically what we're doing now, we're kind of where we want to be, and so we're keeping our own bulls. We're getting them up to about 18 months, and then we're using those bulls to breed our cow herd, and then we're only keeping those bulls for 1 or 2 years, probably 1 year, replacing them with another bull that's got out of one of our best cows. We call them our rock star cows. Those are cows that have done it for they're the oldest cows in our herd. They've never missed. They're the most likely to be genetically adapted and to perform well in our environment. So the other way you could do it, if I was running a commercial herd instead of a registered herd, what I'm doing with my sheep is I am keeping a lot of sons out of my best ewes, and then I'm using them, and that way the better breeders, the better ram lambs are going to breed more ewes. When you look at multi-sire herds and mob breeding, some of what we've seen and what the studies that I've seen, if you're using 3 bulls on 100 cows, one of those bulls is going to be dominant, and they're going to go in, they're going to breed, 60, 70 cows, and that leaves, maybe 10 or 25 for the second bull, and then the third bull, he might get a few if he's lucky. So what we want to do is we want to continue to spread the genetics of those most dominant bulls, because they're going to make our most feminine females, the females that are most well adapted to our environment, the ones that are going to last the longest. So that's kind of what we're doing, trying to mimic nature. But that's kind of what we're looking for. We're looking for a bull that is maturing at an early age. He's sexually active at an early age. He's going to go out and he's going to create cows that are doing the same way. They're going to get bred early in the season. They're going to cycle back faster. They're going to be more efficient, energy efficient, more fertile, and you're going to get more calves out of them. They're going to last longer. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here, and visually doing that is a great way. I think you can still see this bull here, but doing that visually, it's just a really great thing. So hope this helps you guys. If you like this content, like, subscribe, follow for more. We appreciate you.